This week at NASA. NASA's DC-8 airborne laboratory, in use at the Dryden Flight Research Center, is helping scientists better understand the chemical dynamics of smog and greenhouse gases over California. The aircraft has conducted a series of research flights this month for California's Air Resources Board. During the flights, technicians collected air samples to help state scientists learn more about the sources of greenhouse gas emissions throughout the Golden State. Later this month, the DC-8 joins two other NASA aircraft in Alberta and Northwest Territories in Canada to study smoke from forest fires. European Space Agency astronauts Hans Schlegel and Leopold Eharts were honored during a breakfast in Washington at the residence of the German ambassador to the United States. Schlegel and Eharts talked with the ambassador about their STS-122 mission to the International Space Station earlier this year. STS-122 successfully delivered, assembled, and placed into operation the European module Columbus. It's the first European space lab on the ISS dedicated to long-term research in the microgravity of space. NASA astronaut Carl Waltz was also on hand to discuss the benefits of international cooperation in space research. About 350 kids got to see where their moms and dads go each day during Take Your Children to Work Day at the Dryden Flight Research Center. Youngsters and teenagers spent the morning touring NASA aircraft, operating flight research simulators, examining moon rocks, and watching demonstrations of life support equipment. After lunch, the children spent time in their parents' workplaces. NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia hosted a 6-day workshop that taught participants the basics of building experiments for flight on suborbital rockets. The workshop, called Rock On, was attended by more than 50 university faculty and students from 22 states and Puerto Rico. The experiments were built from kits developed by students from the Colorado Space Grant Consortium. Each kit contained a Geiger counter and sensors for measuring temperature, acceleration, and pressure. The experiments were then readied for launch aboard a suborbital sounding rocket.
2, 1, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Atlantis on a mission that will herald a new day of international cooperation in space.
13 years ago this week, a number of historic firsts were accomplished during STS-71. Atlantis became the first space shuttle to dock with Space Station Mir and complete the first ever exchange of a crew on orbit.
Houston, Atlantis, we have capture.
Commanded by Hoot Gibson, the STS-71 mission was the 100th human space launch by the United States. While docked, the two vehicles became the largest spacecraft ever on orbit, with a combined weight totaling almost 1/2 million pounds. Atlantis landed safely at the Kennedy Space Center on July 7, 1995. The Smithsonian is honoring NASA's 50th anniversary by featuring the agency in this year's Folklife Festival, an annual event held on the Mall in the nation's capital. NASA, 50 years and beyond, includes visual presentations, hands-on educational activities, and exhibits that explore the space agency's past and future missions. The Folklife Festival is a celebration of cultural traditions of communities across the United States and around the world. The festival features exhibits, concerts, movies, food, and lectures over a 10-day period. In addition to NASA, the Smithsonian is spotlighting the state of Texas and the country of Bhutan. The Space Philharmonic, under the direction of Emile Decoux, launched the festival with its performance of Holst's The Planets at the National Museum of the American Indian. Former astronaut Mae Jemison helped narrate the concert. NASA imagery was projected onto the museum's wall behind the players.
You are now free to move about the cabin.
The Space Philharmonic also performed the score of the new Disney Pixar movie, WALL-E, about the last robot rover on Earth who finds true love with a new robot named Eve. And that's this week at NASA. For more about these and other stories, log on to www.nasa.gov.